Hi folks, another video on the road to switching over to Fuji mirrorless. As you may know from my previous video, I've always been a Nikon shooter. I don't think I would actually ditch my Nikon system completely, although I have sold off quite a lot of gear, and I've still kept 2-3 bodies and about half a dozen lenses, which I don't think I would go down from that, because in certain situations I prefer to use my Nikons, but a lot of the time I do want something smaller. I started getting an appeal for a smaller system using my Nikon V1, which is very good, but everything's hidden in the menus, limited lens choice, the crop factor is just too much because it's a 1-inch sensor. So I tried the Sony system. I tried the A6000, fantastic IQ, but I don't like the menu system. I find it a bit too fiddly, and it wasn't really what I wanted. I want a traditional field camera with the controls on the top so that I can just change my settings at a glance and be in complete control manually, exactly the way that I was shooting years ago on a Nikon FM. As I've said before, I want a Nikon FM or an F3 with digital files. That would be perfect. So I'm trying the Fuji, and I've got one on the way. The next step was lens choice. With Sony, you're limited on lenses. You have a few reasonable but not brilliant lenses at the low end, and then you have these super ridiculously overpriced, oversized lenses at the top end, which again is not what I want. Whilst I do like a fast standard zoom, I'm more of a prime shooter. I prefer 2 bodies with a wide fast prime and a medium fast prime. That works for me, or perhaps a standard zoom and then another lens on a different body. So we get into lens choice. As I've detailed in a previous video about having a lens strategy, it is important to actually buy lenses to a strategy rather than just buy randomly. Myself, I feel that for me what works is to work in double focal lengths. In this case, I'll be looking at a 12, then a 23, plus a 56 possibly, and a standard zoom. Now, although I do like the Fuji 16 1.4, for where I would use that, or would want to use that, it's not quite wide enough. So I've opted to go for the Samyang 12mm f2. I did try that lens on my Sony and I absolutely love it. And while it's not quite up to the standard of some of its more expensive counterparts, it's a third, if not a quarter of the price, and it is up there in terms of image quality. No differences that you would see in real life shooting, only under direct comparison under the microscope, magnified 200%, shooting at test charts, which is not what I'm interested in anymore. In fact, on the contrary, I've began with mirrorless and with a focus peaking that has allowed me to start using older lenses, certainly for portrait photography. I've now actually swung in favour of using older lenses. So for portrait shoots with adapters, I now like to use my Nikon 50mm 1.4 AIS, the legendary Minolta 58mm f1.4. I've got a Helios 58mm on the way, which floored with its swirling bokeh. These are lenses of character rather than just the clinical portrait lenses that are available nowadays. That's not to say that I won't be buying the Fuji 56 1.2 because it is an amazing lens, and where I would use it I would want that quality and of course the autofocus. So I won't be going for the 16mm, I'll be going for the 12mm Samyang, possibly the 8mm fisheye as well. Then that leaves me my next in-between lens will be the 23mm. I have been dithering between the f2 and the 1.4. Part of me wants the 1.4 because I love what I could do with it. The other part of me does prefer the f2. It's a later lens, faster focusing, quieter focusing, better image quality, and the 23mm 1.4 does not have very good IQ at close-up, and I do like to do quite a lot of close-up, so I think I would probably go for the f2 at 23mm. Also, because a lot of the images that I would be shooting at that focal range would not really be the shots that I would want to be shooting at 1.4. They would probably be environmental shots or group shots, and I wouldn't want to do those at 1.4. I would want to do them at 2.8 or f4 or whatever. So f2 is fast enough, but it wins on size and image quality, and the focusing, autofocusing as well. When I'm going beyond that to the 56, then of course I want the best and the fastest, because that is what I would be using for portraits. That is what I would be often shooting at 1.2, 1.4, 1.8. So those are my three lenses, the 12, 23, 56, that covers what I would want in that range. But I will also, or I've also ordered the 18 to 55. For me, I think that lens is brilliant. Although the 16 to 55 does beat it slightly, not by a great margin, only slightly, it's much bigger and heavier, and I don't really need that, because if I'm going to shoot a wedding, I'll probably have two bodies, and I would have the 23 on one body and the 56 on another body, because the faster speed and the lower weight of the prime, which is what I would prefer, would work better for me. That's not to say that I wouldn't use a standard zoom if necessary, but I do like two fast primes. And yes, in that situation, I would be thinking to myself, do I want the 1.4 or not? I'll see how I get on. But basically that's my lens choice, so I'm going for 12, 23, 56 and a standard zoom. I am tempted to try some of these strange cheap lenses that have come out from Seven Artisans. They make a 23mm and they make a 35mm 1.2. They're very, very cheap. The image quality is quite good, although they do have some strange characteristics which I actually would love to try for personal use, and I would like the pleasure of a completely manual focus lens that has got its own characteristics, that's quirky, to actually add something interesting back to my photography, which has become, over the last few years, just too clinical, because it's all just been about edge to edge sharpness, and it's not been about character. And as I've said, since I got the Sony and I started using the Nikon 50 f1.4 and the Minolta 58 1.4 with adapters and the focus peaking, the focusing was a doddle, and I did start to get these beautiful, creamy, buttery, low contrast, vintage looking shots that that modern lenses just cannot recreate. So what are your thoughts on lens choices? I shall let you know how I get on when they all arrive and I've been out shooting with them. Back soon.